Morning and welcome to our daily word this morning on this Friday, this last day of the week. It's interesting, crazy, weird weather day out there. So I guess we're in March right in Ohio, so it seems fitting that we have this very strange weather going on. So thanks for joining me as always and carving out time to be with me. I do appreciate that. And saying good morning and all of that. So hopefully we're back on track with this daily word. I'm trying to stay on top of it and not get bogged down by other stuff. So today is daily word number 689. So we continue to make our way towards the 3-year anniversary of our daily word, which will be next Thursday. And I put it out there. You don't have to, but if you ever wanted to join me in person, that would be the day on Thursday. You could come sit in this room with me, and we could share some conversation about the daily word if you wished. So, Psalm 27, verse 1, today. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is the stronghold of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid? Now, it's interesting as we are in this season of Lent and we are making our way to the cross and all the stories that we get to hear. I said last Sunday, that the lectionary dumps us out of Matthew for a few weeks and into the Gospel of John and these interesting, powerful stories. And the next 3 weeks, the stories are long and they're detailed. This week, we hear about the other Samaritan. And it's actually not the Good Samaritan, but the woman at the well who meets Jesus there. Jesus asks her for a drink. And of course, there's this conversation about living water and how many husbands she's had. And then what happens at the end? That she goes and tells everybody. She becomes a disciple maker. The next week, we're going to hear about the man born blind from birth and the conversation that happens and who sinned, him or his parents, and how did all this happen? And the man says, look, I don't know. I once was blind, now I see, that's all I know. These interesting stories that lead us back to this, I think. The Lord is my light and my salvation, whom shall I fear? The Lord is the stronghold of my life, of whom shall I be afraid? Now, some of that, if we say it in the right tone, probably it might sound a bit arrogant. And so we would caution ourselves between the idea of arrogance and confidence. Now, for me, this psalm reminds me that we're connected and we're dependent on God. The light, salvation, stronghold. These connected pieces that keep us together. It reminds us that we have this confidence because when we do the right things, when we center on doing the right things for the sake of the gospel, we find God in the midst of that. It deepens our faith. When we're connected, when we know that God is our light and our salvation and our stronghold, we are engaged in that, and it holds us tight, and then it helps us, engage with others. It helps us, I think, in our lives to be vulnerable to the possibility that even in the midst of the most difficult situations, God is there holding us up. The psalmist taps into this for us and reminds us and asks us and implores us, I think, if you will, to trust God so deep that we take on fear courageously, that we know that God's going to be with us in the midst of our most difficult times, even when we are the most vulnerable. God meets us there. And so as we continue to make our way towards the cross, we do so knowing that, as I've always said, and you've heard me say it, will continue to say it until I can't anymore, that we're an Easter people. And even though the cross induces some fear and anxiety in us, we're an Easter people and we trust in the resurrection. And so in this text, we find the courage and the strength to overcome the challenges that are in our lives, and that God meets us there. The Lord is my light and my salvation. And because of that, the psalmist says, I shouldn't fear anyone. The Lord is the stronghold of my life, the psalmist says. I shouldn't be afraid. Now, taking all that in context, we're reminded that in our lives, God is present with us always, even in the most difficult of circumstances. So I hope that's a good word for us as we end our week together. Hope you'll join us Sunday morning for worship at 10:15 as we hear about the woman at the well, the other Samaritan. Hope you'll know of God's love this weekend, this day, and the days to come that surround you. And my love for you. We'll see you Sunday morning at 10:15, and again here Monday morning at 10 o'clock. Have a great day.